What's up, everybody? Welcome to It Figures 175. I am intern Rick.
And I am your Lord Killen, and we finally, for once, got it correct. And you know why? Is because we don't have Dirt or Scotty Cash, who bring the production quality of the show way down. We actually knew the episode number this week.
You said it, not me.
And look who's not here. Look who's not here. So that just goes to show you that they are an integral part of this production. Thank you.
Dropping the ball. Dropping the ball. So we've got some toy news, some things to discuss, some questions to answer. Nothing really new in the world of It Figures. However, something new in the world of It Figures, in the world of toy collecting, is, have you heard? Disney, they're on the ball here. They're trying to monopolize everything, and they want to acquire Hasbro now.
They're trying to steal my childhood. Yeah, so of course, for all you who don't know, they did purchase the Star Wars franchise, including Lucasfilm, and I guess everything that goes with it. So I would.
From what I've understood, it's only things directly related to Lucasfilm,
which is a lot of product.
But I don't believe it includes the merchandising rights and things of that such, which is part of why people believe this acquisition is trying to be had, so they can also get their hands on the toy and merchandising rights as well.
Well, I wonder. Oh God, I didn't actually read it. I should probably read it through to make sure, because it seems like if just the film rights alone. Well, I don't know. I guess $4 billion would be right, because if certain movies could make $1 billion potentially, like Avengers, that was a $1 billion production. So
right.
I guess, but really, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be more to it than just the movie rights. But and this is the way I see it. If they do actually have the rights to everything, including licensing rights, here's a problem that Hasbro does face. They almost have to be purchased by Disney, because if Disney controls those rights, they can completely cut them off from Hasbro and completely devalue Hasbro to and devastating rights. Because, let's look at it. Indiana Jones figures, Star Wars figures. So
G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Transformers.
Well, just the parts that Disney would have the rights to is a big chunk. Star Wars has got to be.
Yeah, if we're just talking Lucasfilm in general already, yeah, you're right.
Hasbro has to be banking. Transformers too, but probably Star Wars is at least 40%, maybe more of their complete overall income. I would assume if Disney could snatch that from them, it would severely cripple them. So in a way, it's like you almost have to let Disney buy you out so you can get a good price. Otherwise, they're going to completely tank your company and buy it at a much discounted price.
They're definitely stuck in a rock and a hard place regardless, because whether they sell or whether they don't, they're going to have to work with Disney down the road one way or another anyway.
So I say sell.
So
if you're in that company, get your money while the getting's good and the value's high. Otherwise, Disney can devastate you.
So in a very, very vague release from NTV Geek, they've basically just said that from what they are told at this point, it's nothing more than a discussion, but serious enough that something could be announced at any time and create ripples throughout the entertainment industry. The Lucasfilm acquisition has been reported as taking just as few as 6 months to complete. So on the other hand, Disney Chairman and CEO Bob Iger has until 2015 on his current contract, and he waited about 3 years in between the acquisitions of Marvel and Lucasfilm. So we may be without firm news on this for a considerable amount of time if he continues to follow a business pattern. So, again, at this point it's nothing more than speculation, but look how long the Lucasfilm acquisition was speculated over, and it was definitely true. So
if you own the rights to the movies, you're going to want to own the rights to your merchandise. So It just makes sense.
It only makes sense. It really does. So, all right.
Otherwise they can just produce their own figures. But how good would competing Hasbro toys versus Disney's Star Wars toys be? You would have to buy Star Wars all over again, and how mad would you be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are definitely going to be some people out there that are angry if they decide to go like a proprietary route where they want to rebrand everything to either have the Disney logo or the Disney name or anything like that. We're talking some major frustrated collectors out there, I'm sure. And I'm sure that there's enough collectors out there that are jaded just by Disney now owning Star Wars, let alone the idea of everything that's going to come. So,
hey, George Lucas, smart man. Getting rid of Star Wars when it's about been played out is the smartest move that he's ever done. He is filthy rich, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I heard that 30%, roughly 30% of that business acquisition was in cash trade, and the difference was in Disney stock. So...
Oh, so he's a big holder
of
Disney stock right now.
Yeah, so he's a big holder in Disney stock. Not to mention the fact that he's still employed by Lucasfilm and Disney as a consulting producer for the next 3 Star Wars films.
Oh, yeah.
So he's rich. Like, he has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, forever will you be rich. In case you're wondering, this is a Lego knockoff gun. I'm just looking at the screen here, and I can see it blatantly. This is a China import. It's a complete knockoff. It's from the Enlightened Brick, the Shifty Brick series. It is a full replica of a gun that really shoots bricks at a really high speed and will really hurt you. So, yeah, really cool. I had them on eBay for a while, but they yanked them off because I don't have an orange tip on them. I'll have to see if I can slip them back on, though.
Find some way to paint an orange tip on it.
Yeah, I was going to put a little orange tip on the box. But yeah, we also have them on Shop PCN, so you might go there and check them out, see if you can get you one. They're awesome.
So the manufacturers over at Funko are rolling out these nice little Boxo figures, and I don't know if any of you out there remember the Boxo figures. I know they've done some of these in the past as promotions and stuff like that. I think we had a little Wario one for the longest time. But now they are announcing Masters of the Universe 4-inch build-it-yourself papercraft figures. And,
oh, God. I got a problem with these. I don't want to pay for this. Like, I want this, but I don't want to pay for it.
I would pay... If I was going to pay anything, I would pay maybe $3 a piece for these things.
Wow, really? That much?
I mean, at the most, $3. I mean,
I definitely want one. But, God, really?
For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, or maybe have a vague idea of what we're talking about but aren't really sure, Boxo figures are basically, they're like this generation's paper doll. Instead of just being able to pull out like a flat 2-dimensional piece of paper with a printed figure on it and have a stand or clothes or whatever, these are 3-dimensional. You can actually pop them out and assemble them, and you have a 3-dimensional box paper figure.
I'll be nice. I'll put one on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about.
There we go.
There you go.
So
don't ask for too much editing. This is what you get.
And confirmed in this first wave will be at least He-Man and Skeletor. It doesn't say anything beyond that or a price point even. Just confirming that these 2 characters will be released and available in this series. I like how Skeletor looks. He-Man looks kinda like a baby.
Yeah, cartoony.
Yeah, so a baby in He-Man outfit.
But remember, Funko is running wild with this license, and hopefully it does well because they do have the bobbleheads coming, which we will have here in Shop PCN.
Is there late December, early January?
Something like that.
Something like that.
It's coming soon, but I'm not exactly sure when. And they had something else. What do they have? They had that other weird thing they do. Besides the bobbleheads, it's like the weird plexiglass kind of thing. I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Whatever. But yeah, they
YouTube.
have... This will be the third... That'll be the second license. This will be the third use of the Masters of the Universe license for them in their overall products. So, I don't know. It's cool. It's nice to get Masters of the Universe floating around again.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of just the exclusive figure line on Maddie, it's nice to see it in other markets and other properties. So. Well, continuing with the Masters of the Universe updates and news, we've got a Castle Grayskull update. Of course, these have been, kind of a regular thing since they announced the potential of the Castle Grayskull pre-order, and this update states nothing more than Mattel has announced the following yesterday about a new exclusive poster folks will get when they pre-order the new Castle Grayskull playset. As if the fact it's Castle Grayskull isn't enough, we're sweetening the offer with a deal even Skeletor couldn't resist. I love Mattel's wordplay.
That is also, they have the rights reserved on that, let you know.
Right. If we meet the 11-12-12 minimum production goal date, and production moves forward, every pre-order placed between 10/16 and 1/3/13 will include a first-ever exclusive Masters of the Universe Classics cross-sell poster. Now, this poster will feature every Masters Universe Classic figure released up to the time of production and printed in a beautiful full-color illustrated poster, and will be consistent in size with the subscription posters. You'll want to have two of them, they say, because you'll want to frame one and then keep track of your collection on the other. And although some sets will be available at MattyCollector.com after pre-orders are filled, the price will be higher, and they will not include the authentic collector must-have poster. They are going way out of their way to make you feel that you have got to have this checklist poster.
It's a poster, though.
So, there's only 1 week left to hit the target goal needed to make sure production moves forward. The original Castle Grayskull was offered in 1981, making it over 30 years since it's been available. Don't risk waiting another 30 years. Is this poster going to convince you to pre-order Castle Grayskull any more than just the idea of having Castle Grayskull would convince you?
I like the idea of that poster because, honestly, I've thought of producing my own similar kind of poster just so I can have a nice little checklist. But I gotta say, if they really wanted me to order this, what they should have done is included some kind of weapon rack with maybe 1 or 2 weapons on it that would be exclusive to the pre-purchase of this. I mean, granted, the weapon rack may or may not, I don't know if it's going to be included in there anyways. It could be, depending on the productions, as they add more features.
That's a very interesting question, considering they've already done a weapons rack for separate sale. Are they going to include a redundant weapons rack for free?
Or maybe, you know, even some notches somewhere in the interior where these exclusive side weapon or armor pieces or whatever could have sat, so that if you pre-order this, you would have got those exclusive pieces. And I think that alone would have made a lot of people who are really hardcore want this even more, simply because they do want those pieces, and those pieces would have some value that if you just wanted to recover some of your money, maybe, you could maybe sell on the secondary market. So that would have been better for me as a poster, and it probably would have been low cost for them to produce. Just saying.
I don't know. Poster certainly isn't enough to make, you know, to entice me more to want to pre-order it. And the way that they've been talking about the release of this castle, that, you know, pre-orders achieve whatever, and because of the cost of whatever, they're supposedly trying to make this as close to a 100% classics replica of the original Castle Grayskull as possible, with all of the hidden compartments and everything else. And I feel that the weapons rack and all the weapons and all of that stuff, everything that was included with the original Castle Grayskull should be included at the base cost for this castle. Anything extra should be exactly that, extra. Like, you know, I don't want them to be like, oh, well, you know, we're going to do an exclusive flag for the top of Castle Grayskull that you can only get if you pre-order. The original Castle Grayskull came with a flag. This one should come with a flag too, not only to people who pre-order that product.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I'm pretty happy with what it's going to be, but I mean, obviously the money's not excessively high. It's just, I don't know, I have a hard time spending that amount of money on for any given thing. I just don't want to tie up too much money. Although I buy Legos that are that expensive anyways. I'm just saying, I don't like doing it. I will, but I don't like it. And that's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I probably should buy this thing, but at the same time, I really only care about the figures. I don't really care about playsets and vehicles, but it's like, that's one of the things that I would go, you know, as much as I just want the figures, that thing is so cool that I almost feel like I need to get it.
Absolutely.
And if I don't go now, like if you don't pre-order now, you're going to hate yourself because you're not going to be able to buy this thing at any realistic price ever beyond this.
Yeah, this is the one situation where
you got to do it.
You've got to do it.
If you even
this
think
isn't
you
like
want
the
it, you gotta do it.
subscription. This isn't like the subscription talk. This is completely different. You've
Yeah,
got to do it. If
you can
want
get those. You can get those figures on eBay, and you'll be like, you pay a little more, not much more, a little more. But this thing, I can't see how you wouldn't pay
at least twice.
Yeah,
at least twice.
I can't imagine you're gonna get more than $300-400, or cheaper than that. You know what I mean? So if you want it, pre-order it. Pre-order it now. Just do it.
Well, there's not a whole lot of news for this week, so we're going to wrap news up here real quick with a little tidbit from DC Collectibles. They have revealed their new upcoming Arkham City Deadshot figure to be released in March of 2013. And of course, this will add to their already super popular Arkham-based toy lines.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. The figure looks cool, but this is not a figure that... This isn't a character that I am either, one, super knowledgeable about or really care about.
Yeah, same for me. I didn't even know he was in the game, but I haven't played the game, so I can't really even talk about that much. But, yeah, I don't know. And what's wrong with the game? Like, why is it so cheap all of a sudden? I was checking the prices of that particular game, and it's plummeted in price.
It does seem like that one came and went a lot faster than the first one did.
You can buy a brand new for like $30 right now, and that's half the price of its release. And it seems weird because the other one held its value so much longer. I guess it's just the way it is at the right time of the year. They're trying to get rid of that kind of stuff for Christmas, but woo, that seems like that dropped fast.
All right.
I don't know. So that's it for the news, I guess.
That's going to wrap things up for the news this week.
Oh, and apparently they're right now, as we're recording, they are determining who's the president of the United States. So tomorrow, as you're watching this, you probably know who it is. Spoiler alert.
That could have something to do with the lack of news.
Spoiler, it's Hawkman. So...
So that will move us into the fan corner this week. Those of you who watched the Halloween special know that we scripted a interruption in the middle of the fan corner. So we're going to pick up with fan corner 174 and get to some of those questions that we missed, and then we'll finish out 175.
Okay.
All right, so our first question coming back from fan corner 174 comes from Mystery Mountain Man, and it's possible that I might be overlapping these as I was killed early on in the fan corner. Hey guys, this is my first post on the forums, but I've been watching your videos since late 2010. You're my favorite channel.
Oh, right, yeah, we did do that.
We did do this one?
Here,
okay.
let me look over them real quick. Right there.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna jump that one, and we will start with a question from Sanburbia. He says, "Hey guys, happy holidays. I was recently listening to a local radio station, and they were talking about how they couldn't give candy to older trick-or-treaters showing up at their doorsteps. What is the staff's opinion on this? Do you guys have an age cutoff for treat distribution? When did each of you actually stop trick-or-treating, or do you guys still go out there asking for candy and spandex? Thanks for reading and love your show." I don't know about you, but I am definitely somebody who feels that trick-or-treating in the public eye is something that is socially acceptable for children and should most likely be reserved for children. Now, if you're talking an adult party or situation where it's completely acceptable and maybe kind of humorous for you to be retrieving treats or accepting treats, that's one thing. But whenever you're, quite obviously an older high school student who is trying to get dressed up and go out and knock on doors for candy, shouldn't you have a job to be able to buy it?
Okay, here's my opinion on this. Now, we didn't have any trick-or-treaters because we were out trick-or-treating with our daughter. But had they come to my door, of course all the children would have got stuff. Had you come to my door and you were, even if you were a grown-ass 40-year-old man, if you came to my door and you were dressed up awesomely, like legit dressed up, I'd been like, bravo, here's some candy for you. You got balls. You can have some candy. However, if you come to my door and you are like lame, I'm like, no. And it's not if your costume sucks. It's just if you like are not really in costume. You're like, yeah, I'm trick or treating for my kid, or something lame like that. Or you come with a bunch of scumbags to my door, like just trying to get candy. You're not getting nothing. But I don't care how you could be an elderly man. If you come to my door and you actually have like a costume, some attempt at being serious about it, then yeah, you get all the candy I can give you because you got some balls. And now, what age did I stop? I don't know. Probably 10, somewhere in there. Just because it wasn't cool anymore. I didn't want to be, seen as a little kid. But my favorite part of Halloween is the day after Halloween, where I get to buy all the candy at clearance.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I do.
For sure.
So you better believe that next day I was at all the major retail stores buying as much candy that I liked at a minimum half off. And I'm probably going to check later tonight as I go and get something. And it's been about a week or so later that hopefully the candy's more like 80% off, 90% off. And I'm going to scoop up some more candy because I am fat.
Let's not forget discount Monster cereal too.
Oh yeah, especially if you can find any of the Count Chocula, Boo Berry anywhere, you can probably pick that up for $1 a box. And I got some Count Chocula for like $1.20 the other day, and I'm gonna
stock up on that shit.
I'm gonna eat it. I'm probably not gonna eat it until like I don't know Christmas, but I'm gonna eat it.
All right. Our next question comes from Pyrus Masquerade. He says, "Hey PC and crew, finally back after probably a year. Where have you been?
Welcome back.
Where have you been?"
Where? No, legitimately. Tell us where. Answer the screen.
They ask, what is the scariest thing about Halloween you know of or remember from your childhood? That's kind of a funny question because Halloween has always been kind of like that sacred holiday for me. And I don't really have any frightening or scary memories of Halloween. I have tons of fun, awesome memories of Halloween.
I think, like, looking back at it, there's probably a lot of sketchy, creepy old dudes that I probably shouldn't have took candy from growing up that at the time I was so oblivious to. But now watching my daughter go to the doors and trick-or-treat, I'm like,
Makes you a little worried?
Like, no wonder no one trick-or-treats anymore. There's a lot of sketchy people out there. But I don't know. I think as a kid, if I can remember, the worst thing about going to somebody's door, it was the people that had the scarecrows on their porch, and you never knew if it was really somebody sitting there waiting to be a jerk and scare you. Like, it probably wouldn't happen these days because somebody can get shot or whatever. But back then, it used to happen all the time. Somebody would dress up. There would be like scarecrows or dummies on their porch, and every time, one of them would be the real person. Every single time they would get me. And if they didn't, they would hide off somewhere else, and I would be like freaked out, like, oh, one of these things is going to jump, one of these things is going to jump. And then when you get your candy and leave, they get you on the way out. So that was the worst. That's way too stressful for a kid to go trick-or-treating and have to worry about such criminally devastating things. But I was kind of hoping it would happen to my daughter when we was trick-or-treating, but no one was doing that. So as I talked bad about it, I was hoping my daughter would get the Jesus scared out of her, and it didn't happen.
I would say, like, if we're talking, generic scary or whatever, I would say the scariest thing that I saw probably did happen this year, and it was that in paying attention to the trick-or-treating festivities and comparing them to what I remember as a kid, not only did it seem like kids don't go out as long and hit the streets for trick-or-treating candy, but they also do it during daylight hours now. Like, by the time it gets dark, it's done. You don't trick-or-treat at night anymore. And
well, there was a time. It was like from 4 to 8 was the trick-or-treating hours this year.
Wow, that seems crazy, because I remember, like, it was like 7 to 9:30 or 7 to 10 o'clock or something. It was like as soon as the sun went down and then till curfew. Growing up, that was what the trick-or-treating hours were.
Well, that's why it was different this year, because of the timing difference, and for whatever reason it got darker, closer towards 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so
I hate daylight
by that
savings.
time, that's why most of the kids were out this year trick-or-treating during the day, which I'm okay with as a parent, but as a kid that sucks.
And a lot of it seems like it's done indoors now as opposed to going door to door outside.
Hey man, you clean up. You go to like a big mall or something, you get a lot of candy really fast. You don't have to work very much. We're getting lazy as a society. And hey, and all you stores that didn't participate in the candy giveaway,
shame on you.
Shame on you. You should be drugged out and shamed. And like the news should go around and record how ridiculous you couldn't spend a couple, bucks on some Tootsie Rolls or something. Weak, very weak. I'm talking to you, Macy's. All right.
Especially Macy's. Holy cow, that's like the biggest anchor store in our mall.
Yeah, we had a couple of big anchor stores in the mall that just did not participate, and I was really like, "Are you kidding me?" There's some of the kiosks were giving out candy, and I'm like, if they can spend, if I had a store in the mall, I would literally spend hundreds of dollars.
That right there, that's karma working in reverse.
That is karma.
Macy's. You ask why your founding members drown on the Titanic. It's because 100 years from now.
There we go.
100 years, they're going to start cheating out the kids on Halloween candy.
Karma.
So, karma. Our next question comes from Mega Big John 28. He says, my question this week is about the Shogun Warriors line. Does anyone on Knit Figures have any of these toys, and how many were in the line?
No.
No.
And I think there was 4. There was Godzilla and 3 other random ones. And I know this because I watched it on Toy Hunter the other day. Yeah, no, I don't know if anybody. I don't think any of us have them.
I know I don't for sure.
Maybe old Pixel Dan might have one, but I don't know.
Sorry. All right, our last question from Fan Corner 174 comes from Nasty Will. It's been a little while since we've heard from Nasty Will, I think. He says, hey, peeps, I was just looking at some old cartoons from the 80s.
Wow.
I noticed that most of the bad guys on the cartoons were jokes. The only I feel... that's not a typo. The only I feel like was any threat to the good guys was Megatron and Mumra from the first season of Thundercats before he got Mamut. How do you feel about that?
Those were different times. Back then, evil wasn't so evil. I mean, we had rap music that was like comedy rap. We look at the Fat Boys and stuff like that.
Right.
Now you got gangster rap, okay? Everything was a little bit nicer and happier back then, and the good times rolled. There were sitcoms on TV that made you feel good about yourself. The cartoons were dominating the market. Toys were filling the aisles. The world of Nintendo was going buck wild all over the stores. And none of that's going on today.
I also think a big part of that is that time frame, whenever all of those properties first came out, the villains really hadn't had the opportunity to cement their stance in pop culture history, and the heroes were the characters that were being hoisted up by the toy companies and the cartoon companies as being the heroes. So you didn't want a situation where your hero, who is what is generating your interest, to be the loser. It took time for those villains to become beloved villains, whereas a lot of times a hero comes out and is a hero right away. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. And you don't think Skeletor was a threat?
Well, I mean, back then, adults weren't really watching the cartoons, though, like we do now. Obviously, they didn't care about them. And so there was no way those characters would even relate to any adults. Now looking back, and you're right, looking back at the cartoons now, as I watch them as an adult, I'm like, these suck, the stories are weak, the characters are very terrible, stuff like that. But back then, as all children who were mostly watching it, I would say 90% children watched, I don't think anybody cared about any of that stuff. So you're right, they were jokes, but it's because it was like potty humor.
I think it's kind of there's a definite equal give and take to some extent there, whereas, if you don't feel that the villains were anything to necessarily worry about in the 80s, look at the current storylines that you have in television, and look at all of the things that they will not even come close to touching base on because it is deemed inappropriate or, not politically correct, or there's a lot of sheltering going on whenever it comes to the content that is in children's media today as opposed to what it was in the 80s. You will very rarely see a cartoon character with a gun or a realistic gun or try to show or demonstrate any actual harmful use of anything like that. You won't ever see a cartoon character smoking a cigarette. You know, like, a lot of things have become taboo in children's cartoons. So whenever you compare and contrast those different things, I guess it's kind of an equal give and take.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hawkman agrees with you. Yep.
Well, I'm glad you agree with me, Zombie Hawkman, because you stink.
No problem.
All right, moving on to Fan Corner 175. Our first question for the week comes from Clone Yoshi.
You are on top of it. What time did you post? 8 o'clock at night, you cheater.
The day before Halloween.
You cheated.
So he posted this before we were even done filming the Halloween special. Hey guys, the other day I was at Walmart and went through the toy section and noticed that the Imaginext line had some pretty cool playsets and vehicles, and was thinking some different toy ideas, which led to my question: if there were toy lines like Imaginext based on other lines you collect and were made for playsets and different vehicles, would you buy them?
Yeah. I prefer when properties I like actually seek other forms through other vendors. So that's why I like a lot of the I love knockoff Lego stuff. I love it because it's just the same thing I love, just being recreated through somebody else's vision. And even though most of them are terrible and extremely toxic and deadly to myself, I do love the terrible reimaginations. And I gotta say, some of the companies like Connects and all that they're pumping out their own versions, and even the Creo stuff is really nice. So keep doing what you do. Knock off stuff.
Direct answer from the building crazy guy himself. So.
I prefer knockoffs. I very much prefer knockoffs over officially licensed stuff. I think it's awesome that you have the balls to rip and steal and cheat companies and copy their products and try to sell them mass market, and you have terrible quality problems. I love it. As long as it's affordable. Like, if it's cheap, I want it. If it's like really expensive, I'm like, come on, bro. Really?
Right. All right. Our next question comes from Omega Supreme. Have you guys noticed the girls' toy lines such as Barbie, Disney Princesses, and Monster High all seem to have play sets? Why do you think it is that boys' toy lines seem to have trouble getting play sets, but most girls' toy lines have them?
I see this a lot with my daughter. She likes, she prefers over having, and I don't know if this is a boy and girl thing, but I think that as a girl, she likes putting things into things, and she likes the idea of a structure. And like, you could literally give her a bag of marbles, and if she could put something inside something, she would prefer that versus a doll. I don't know what it is. It's just some kind of like weird instinctual thing she has to put stuff inside stuff. So I think the play sets is maybe just like a visually stimulating thing that girls prefer to boys who maybe are more into like a singular holding object. I don't know.
Right. I have definitely noticed that it seems that playsets are more dominantly available for girls' toy lines, but I've never really compared price points. So I wonder if the cost of playsets for girls' toy lines seem to be coming in under the price point of playsets for boys' toy lines.
They're expensive.
I mean,
they're very expensive.
I don't have kids myself, so I can't vocalize an opinion based off of what children today are thinking of whenever they play with toys. Myself as a toy collector, and especially whenever I was a kid, I absolutely loved playsets. Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, the sewer system playset for Ninja Turtles. That stuff it just completely opened up, the world of imagination for being able to play with those things and be able to create a world separate from just sitting on the grass and playing in the dirt. It bums me out that it is like that, but I can't tell you why.
And it's funny that you even asked that question, because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. When I buy her new toys, when I'm looking at what to buy her, I'm instead of looking at, oh, it's a doll, she'll like that, I'm looking at more of a playset type of a thing, or at least something with multiple accessories, because she cares more about that than she actually does the physical item. And as I'm buying these toys for her, I'm realizing, why am I buying her this? She's not going to play with that. I could buy this and she'll play the crap out of it. And it's always something where she has to build something or put something together or put it inside of something. And I don't know if that's just a weird thing I've realized about her. And I noticed that some of her friends are also very similar, and I think it's a girl thing, as far as I can tell, because some of the children that are boys don't seem to really have that focus, attention to detail. They're a little more like go, go, go. So I think maybe the playsets are based for the girls because they are more slow and more focused on their task. And when they play, they seem to have a more imagined, detailed playing versus the boys that just grab, run, and destroy. So that's probably why there's more playsets. And even though that's a little way more deep than it needs to be here on It Figures, I think that's officially why, and I'm going to say it is.
Our next question comes from Reordered, and this is directed specifically at the Lord Killen.
Alright.
What are your thoughts if LEGO release Masters of the Universe sets and minifigures?
I think that is awesome because I won't have to buy knockoffs of customs that people have made. By the way, Pixel Dan still has my He-Man and Skeletor Lego figure. I need those back. I'm talking to you.
And follows up with the second question. Is it possible to get a Lego set graded? And have you had anything Lego graded in your collection?
It is possible, and I have not. But I just recently, for whatever reason, searched that topic on eBay. Just because, about a year ago I was looking and there wasn't nothing really available. There are people, and I don't know, why, but if you remember, there was the Star Wars Millennium Falcon that was the real big one. It was like $400. Somebody graded one of those and got what I would consider, what you would get on a 9, which is if you bought a brand new one, it was in great condition, that's what you'd get. And they were selling it on eBay, and the bidding was up to $4,000.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and I was sitting there thinking, you could probably, because that set was a $400 set and it's off market, so it's going to be about $600 to $800 to buy it new in a package. It's just expensive. Now, why are people paying so much more for it to be a graded set? That I don't understand. Obviously, the cost of grading a big, huge box like that was probably a couple $100. Realistically, that's probably a $300 grade. So, in my mind, I buy some of those off eBay. Let's say I spend $800, and wow, don't step on that. And I go and I buy the grading service, which is like $300. Let's say I spend $1,100. I can turn $1,100 into $4,000. And it's funny, it wasn't like a buy now. It actually bid that high, and it still had plenty of time to go. So I'm thinking maybe graded Legos is the new high dollar item, because there's very, very few online, and the people who buy that stuff are already a little eccentric, willing to spend high dollars on the toys. So maybe that's the hidden gem in the market right now, getting graded Legos and selling them. So I don't know. I haven't really graded toys in a while. I kind of got off of it because I realized how much money I've been spending, and I was like, I need to stop this. But I want to.
In a way, something that's semi-completely off topic but related, and I feel it's kind of worth touching on, based off of what you said over, why the graded, something that I do not understand is grading video games.
That's a new trend. That's very new.
And it seems like that is something that is kind of going in the exact same direction as to what you just, expressed over graded Legos.
Well, graded video games that are sealed, especially Super Nintendo games. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, those are the two hot areas right now. If you can get a brand new game that's still sealed with the nice little white flap seals, those games are hundreds of dollars. And if you grade them, you kick them in the $400, $500, $600, $700 area, and there are people who are buying those because, realistically, those are today's toys. They are the toys, and most of us who are collecting toys are into comics and into video games, and most of us are really picky and snobs and want the best graded high dollar. It's got to be perfect. The box has got to have no wrinkles in it. Is there a crate? Does it have the manual? You know? So I could see that some people they really want like a copy of Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo, and they want a perfect copy because they're not really going to play it. They just want it, and I think they're willing to pay more for a perfect graded copy. And the prices of new games, because no one kept those games new. That's probably why they're so valuable. And it's probably one of those things where a lot of people don't realize that if you find a game, a Nintendo game, Super Nintendo game, and it hasn't been opened, it's still legitimately sealed from the original seal, you got a lot of money on your hands.
So all of you out there with your, tucked back, still shrink wrap copies of Earthbound on the Super NES, you better be sending that stuff in for grading.
Yeah. even some games like some of the original PlayStation 1 games that are sealed, they got some insane values on them. RPGs, I mean, no one really cares about sports titles.
RPGs are valuable.
If you got a Madden and it's sealed up, throw it away. No one cares. It's really not worth it more than $1 or $2 over the value of the game, which is
even if it's on
minimal.
the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, there's not too many Sega Genesis games that are valuable. Maybe like the Zombies Ate My Parents or whatever. Stuff with games like that might be, but anyways.
Our next question comes from Nick, the toy columnist.
Yo.
What's up?
What up, Nick?
He says, "Hey gang, what do you think about the various Lord of the Rings lines? Will you be getting the new Hobbit figures?"
I will in the Lego form. That's about it.
Lord of the Rings, it's a franchise that I appreciate, but I don't collect. That all the Toy Biz product that they put out for the trilogy movies whenever they came out, that stuff was all done really well. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially whenever you compare it to some of the other stuff that Toy Biz has done in the past. It was all done really well, looked really well, sells really well. Not really my cup of tea.
I do like it, and there was at some toy show we went to, they actually had a collection of the smaller 2-inch figures that they put out in these box sets a while back. They had like almost the entire line. And I was like, man, the problem with in the Toy Biz is great. The problem is if I buy some of the Lord of the Rings stuff, I don't want like one character. I want an army.
Right.
And that's the problem I have is I can't just buy one. I need a massive amount. And the only way I can see myself buying them is if they go on super clearance and are dirt cheap, or somebody's selling me like a full-on army or massive lot. That's the only way I'd buy that right now.
And hands down, my opinion, the best Lord of the Rings collectible I've ever seen is the Sideshow Premium Format Sauron figure. Any of you who have not seen this figure, jump online and look up some pictures of this figure, and it is ridiculous. So, all right. Next question comes from Yoda Soup. He says, "Dudes, which former WWF star do you feel you look like, resemble, or act like the most?"
Wow.
That's going to be a hard one for me to answer because I've never really been a fan of wrestling. But for the sake of...
Hey, no, it's really that's better for you guys to tell us, because...
Tell us which ones we look like or act like.
Uh-huh.
I would say Iron Sheik immediately because I think that would be hilarious. But it's
like... You got Parkinson? He's just really old.
Give me a wheelchair.
Yeah, so tell us. Post your comments below. Go to join the forums, go to It Figures Podcast subcategory, and then post it there.
Tell me I look like Dude Love.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because that's really up to the fans to decide, or you guys out there to decide and tell us, because I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't do that to myself or to him. But I would love to hear who Dirt and Scotty Cash, and obviously Scotty Cash wants to be Hogan, but we all know he's more like a like a real low level guy.
Maybe Scotty's the Iron Sheik. And he follows up, says, "Also, to intern Rick, what is your favorite Kiss song, and who is your favorite member of the band, current or former? I look forward to Saturday morning review each week. Keep up the good work." Thanks, buddy. Favorite Kiss song. That's a hard one.
Wow.
That's a hard one for me to answer.
You can't ask us to do any musical questions. It gets too deep.
My favorite band member is Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley has single-handedly, for the most part, held that group together for the last 35 years. Gene Simmons has been nothing more than a merchandising mogul to reap all of the credit and the money benefits from everything.
Yep, good for him.
While Paul Stanley kind of sits back in the background and produces all the records and actually calls the shots. So he's probably my favorite member of the group. Favorite song? Can I just tell you a favorite record? Will that work?
No. Pick a song.
Song. Okay.
I wanna party all night long.
Favorite song.
Rock and roll all night. That one. That's mine.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll from Psycho Circus.
Wrong.
No, that's
wrong.
That's my favorite Kiss song.
Wrong.
So, all right.
His favorite color is blue. Next question.
You're wrong. The answer is purple because there are no bones in ice cream.
No.
All right. Our next and final question of the week comes from Orko. What's going on, Orko? It says, hey guys, I was watching one of my all-time favorite shows, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and was noticing some interesting similarities with the Pop Culture Network.
Oh.
For one, they started their series on public access, not unlike what your shows may be like right now.
Oh, what does that mean?
Anyway, here's the question. None of us want to see your shows go, but I was just thinking, what if you guys took a little time to try and make a movie? Whether in theaters or just for the fans on the site.
You know, here's the problem with that. Like, doing the Halloween thing was, as far as our production quality is going to go at the current state, because we really, really have a huge crunch for time.
Timing is our biggest enemy.
Yeah, getting us all together to produce something, like, we can do it, and I mean, that Halloween thing we threw together literally was like 2 hours. I mean, it was fast, and we got all the shots we needed right away, and it was completely on the fly, you know, in dirt, you know, edited it all together for things, so thanks for him. But before, when we were all together, we actually would script out everything, and we would plan to do shots, and we would actually spend a couple of days doing the shots we needed, you know, shooting certain things, you know, for a couple hours here and a couple hours there, and we'd piece it all together. And we actually, you know, had a really good quality production, unopposed to the live stuff that we constantly do now. And you're right, we need to do that kind of stuff, and we are actually looking into that. There's, you know, possibilities that we might, you know, try to recapture that new toy smell in like a 2.0 version. Try to go back that route and do a more quality show. And that is currently what we're looking at doing. We're looking at doing, you know, taking It Figures to a newer productive level and trying to do that new toy smell. Maybe cutting this show back for a while, and, you know, because if you remember, we used to jump to show. Like, we did that new toy smell constantly, and we didn't do It Figures, and we slowly did that more, and It Figures, you know, or It Figures more, and that new toy smell less, and we switched over to this show. Well, it's getting to the point where, like, maybe we should switch back over to doing that new toy smell again, maybe restarting the cycle, kicking into version 2.0, and restarting, doing all new looks at all the toy lines over. So we're very much considering that, and it could go that way, especially if you guys really want that to happen. You should let us know, and maybe we can actually do that.
There's a lot of different roads that we could go. I mean, theoretically, we could take all of our weekly shows that we're doing right now as individual shows and realign all of them to be segments of one big show.
Yeah, that's kind of what I ultimately wanted to do with all our shows at one point, was to do just a pop culture network show, which would include video games, comics, toys, pretty much a little bit of everything, but have the segments be, you know, it could be individual shows on their own, but would be a nice long show, you know, maybe like an hour long, maybe slightly hour and a half, and we produce that every week, or, you know, every other week, and just do a nice quality production in a studio style. However, with the timing and our store being completely packed, I mean, we have to shoot in these small areas. Maybe when we move to our bigger store, we can actually accomplish that and do a way better production for you guys. And we do really appreciate all you guys that stuck around for all these years. And you're right, when we were doing that new Toy Smell, we actually, things were a lot going better for us than they are now as far as the excitement of the fans and how many people were around for that. So
we need to get the dirt out of the basement.
Yeah, we need to get dirt out of the basement. Need to take Scotty Cash off whatever random girl he's on, and then try to do a production of it. So we're working on that.
We're mindful of everything.
Yeah.
We discuss everything.
Here's how it goes.
We pay attention to all the suggestions and comments.
I tell Dirt, I was like, okay, Dirt, like we need to really get down and start making these shows better production and do some stuff like we used to, where it was actually a better quality show. And he goes, yeah, but I don't want to edit. And I go, but I edit the show now. You don't. I do. So what does it matter to you? Yeah, well, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. I'm like, he's the laziest person ever. Lazy.
He doesn't want to write scripts.
It's hard to get him to go, okay, let's do it. So if you guys can send him some emails and pressure him to be a little bit more mindful of production, we can get it going. Because I can't do it myself. I'm swamped. Okay, making the site running and doing the store all day long and still having a family life is killing me. So we need more production people on hand to get things done. Now, previously, before, everybody would get everything together and I'd be like, okay, yes or no, and then do it. But now it's like, if we don't force ourselves to do it, it's just not going to happen.
So pretty much, Dirt needs to poop or get off the pot, because you and I are both fairly consumed. You're here all the time. I'm here 40 hours a week, plus doing 2 shows of my own and this one. So.
Yeah, I mean, we could shoot, if we did that new Toy Smell, the way we did it was we would do, on our nights, like we do at Figures, we would shoot all the segments that were all together, and then all the cut segments we'd shoot on our own time whenever we had, free available time. And sometimes, we would be in a crunch that we'd actually do it, we might shoot 2 episodes at once. So we can make it happen, we just need to make it happen.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
So, yeah, and it's really going to be fan-driven, so if you guys want that kind of stuff, or you want something new, we're always open to suggestions. We're just kind of making this up as we go. We don't know what we're doing.
Jump on the forums at jointheforums.com and get those comments and suggestions rolling, because we're always in a reformatting stage, always looking to improve and expand our audience base. So that is going to wrap things up for questions this week. Did you have anything else that you'd like to contribute?
No, a happy new president. Whoever he or she may be. It's he. It's a he. Spoiler alert, it's a he.
Right. Remember, if you like what you have seen here and all of our other shows at popculturenetwork.com and would like to support us, check out our store at shoppcn.com, where you can find loads and loads of awesome action figures, video games, and comics. Check out our forums at jointheforums.com, and check out our website, popculturenetwork.com.
Yeah, and honestly, I just picked up the other day the Spider-Man Lego set that I just randomly found that was released. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, wow, Spider-Man from the Marvel line. So hopefully, if I can get my stuff together this week, I'll be able to put a review together of that set and actually pump out a Lego review. It's been I don't know, a year since the last one I did. And then I pretty much want to do this one too.
Who wouldn't want to do this
Because this thing is awesome. And I don't care if it's a legal knockoff. It is awesome. All right, so we'll see you guys next week. Please remember to go visit jointheforums.com, go to It Figures subcategory, and leave your comments and suggestions. Hey, you hated the show, you liked the show, maybe you want questions for next week. I don't know, just post something. Be a part of the community. Go rock the vote. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Later.